Every season has about, or I should say, every season that goes well, every season that ends in a division win or a playoff appearance, no matter what sport, has a handful of wins that just make you go, this might be our season. This might just be our season. Tonight felt like one of those wins for the Seattle Mariners. Chaos ball is back. The Mariners come back. They beat the Astros 4-2. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post game recap. Let's go. What a win for the Mariners tonight. 4-2. They score 3 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Hey, speed kills and you put the ball in play and good things happen. I'm going to break down the entire game for you guys. Before I do that, as always, you guys know the drill, the like button. I again cannot thank you all enough for all the likes the videos get. Thank you all so much. Keep hitting that like button for me. And now I think I'm about 76 subscribers away from 3,500. So we are truly on the road there. Thank you to everybody that has subbed, whether you've been with me since day one or you joined yesterday. We are going to have a ton of fun this season. And I mean, the party's just getting started. It is just getting started. Listen, the Mariners offense had some frustrations today. They should have done more against Hunter Brown. Pitching wise, they absolutely did their job. Luis Castillo was fantastic. The bullpen for the second day in a row, lights out with 3 shutout innings. And you find a way in the 8th inning. You find a way. You keep it at 2-1. And when you're playing, I say it all the time with the Mariners, when you're up 1 run, why is it nerve-wracking? Because anything can happen. Little things can happen. The Mariners, outside of Mitch Haniger, didn't hit the ball very hard in the 8th inning. But a couple things happened. They got some speed on the bases in Clase and Ryan Bliss. It's why speed is an important aspect of baseball. And they put the ball in play. Listen, I'm a guy that's preached that, hey, strikeouts, outs, not much difference. But to the people that have disagreed with that, and I do think putting the ball in play is better. I've never said it's not. I've just said I don't think it's a huge difference. But to people who have disagreed with me, tonight was your night. That proves why it can be a huge difference maker. Just put the ball in play, especially when you've got guys with good speed like Julio Rodriguez. I know Bliss didn't put the ball in play, but guys like Ryan Bliss, Josh Rojas to an extent, not necessarily a speed guy, but not slow either. And they made it work and they found a way to get those 3 runs and really just a great win. And now you've set yourself up so well in this series. First of all, the absolute worst case scenario now is a split, which Houston gains no ground from a split in this series. So that is now your worst case scenario, the absolute worst thing that can happen. Now, you don't want to lose the next 2 because Texas could gain ground as well. So I'm not trying to say that it's just whatever the next 2, but that is your worst case scenario. And I said coming into this series, I said it yesterday, if Houston wants to gain any ground on the Mariners this series, they have to win 3 in a row. Well, that's done. Now they just need to salvage the last 2 to not avoid losing ground. And if you're the Mariners now, boy, do you have a golden opportunity. You have a golden opportunity to win this series. And I'm not going to say put a dagger into the Astros. The Astros are a team that until that little E is by their name in the standings, I'm not counting them out. But that has got to be demoralizing. Just this game in general for Houston, and to come into this series, and if the Mariners can win it and take 3 out of 4, that's just got to feel like a bit of a gut punch, I would think, if you are a Houston Astros fan. Because despite all the struggles for them this year, they came to the series, listen, we're going to Seattle for 4. It's a park we've had success in before, against a team we've had success in before. Actually, last year, the Mariners did really well against the Astros, minus the last series of the year. But just in general, over the years, you've had success against. Despite all our struggles, if we can go in, take care of business, and again, I'm talking here from an Astros perspective, against a team that we think we're better than, we're right back in this race. Now, again, they're not out of it, but to have 2 games where, yesterday you battled back, they had tons of opportunities to take the lead there, couldn't do it, Mariners hold on. Then tonight, where you're 6 outs away from a win, with the back end of the bullpen, it's been much better, and their underlying numbers are much better than how they performed. Saw how good Abreu was in the 7th, Presley's been good in the 8th, and Hader has been much better in the 9th inning. So they had to feel pretty good that they were going to get that win. And for the Mariners to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat is just tremendous. Just tremendous. The Mariners now are 4 games over 500. They still have a 3.5 game lead in the division. Listen, every day you can maintain that lead is a good thing. I know it's not even June yet, but it's also almost June. Like, we are getting into the dog days of summer here. We're a third of the way through the season. That 3.5 game lead does matter. Now, again, like, to people, I've had people tell me that could be gone soon, and it could. But the point is that you do have some wiggle room here. And 3.5 games is substantial enough where, like, if Texas wins 5 in a row, the Mariners have to go, 2-4 for them to catch you. I know that, of course, that's how 3.5 games works, but I'm just trying to make a point that it's not nothing. I guess that's all I'm trying to say. It's not nothing. Should we be jumping up from the rooftops celebrating this in late May? Yeah, I mean, we should be happy, but no, I'm not saying the division's a lock or anything like that. But it is a substantial enough lead, and now you've got the Astros 5.5 back, that we should feel pretty good about where this team is at. There's a reason that Fangraphs projects this team to win the division. We should feel good that this team can win the American League West. And they're doing it with still a lot of guys underperforming that you hope will get better. And then maybe, some bullpen pieces that can get back in there, like Santos and stuff. So, I mean, I think all in all, again, if you were to ask me now, I said before the season, I thought they were going to win the division. I didn't know how it was going to play out necessarily. But if you were to ask me again today, Jay, do you think they win the division? I do. This isn't a jinx. But they're in great position right now. I don't think they've peaked. I still don't think they've hit their stride all the way. They've had moments of it, but I still don't think we've seen the best of this team. We've seen them in the years past when the weather heats up, the offense gets going. I know that's around the league, that's common, but especially for the Mariners that are, I think, such like a home run reliant team, which is another nice thing to see in the eighth, was a little small ball to get the W. Maybe intentional or not, it was small ball. I do think we're going to see this team still have like a stretch during the summer when they just go like 12-2 over a stretch. And they've played a brutal schedule. They've played an absolutely tough schedule. It's going to start getting easier here in a little bit. Now, baseball's funky. Things can happen. You're not guaranteed to beat Chicago or the Angels or anything like that. But I think all in all, when you factor in the schedule, some of the underperformance, I think from what we've seen in this team in years past with slow starts, to be 30-26, I'm good with that. I am. Yes, there's 100% things that need to be improved on this team. They absolutely have got to go out at the deadline and make some moves to put this team over the top, because I don't know if they're fully like a World Series contender right now. But when you factor everything in, I'm pretty happy with where this team's at. And I know it's gone back and forth. I know just 3 days ago, I made a video ranting about how this team looks 500. It's an emotional roller coaster sometimes, right? And, with football, we get a week to take a deep breath and let it all happen. Baseball, it's every night. So, and I listen, one thing I preach to you guys is I'm never right 100% of the time. In fact, if I'm right 50% of the time, that's a miracle. I will maintain I don't know ball. Some people say I'm stealing that from my buddy Jake from Raise the Trident. I'm there with you, my friend. So, I'm going to be on the emotional roller coaster too. This game, right? I was going to come on here and kind of rip them. Hunter Brown, while I do think Hunter Brown has some pretty good stuff, I was going to rip them for not doing more against him. Struck out 17 times. Like, the narrative was there about why they lost. And then they turn around and win the baseball game. So even within the game, the emotions, can be an absolute roller coaster. So imagine how it can be game to game, but an absolutely just huge, huge win for the Mariners. The pressure is on Houston now. You've put the pressure back on them. Go win this series tomorrow. Listen, I know what the Yankees series is like. Hey, a split's fine. Like, you did it, that's fine. You go into Yankee Stadium, get the split, you're good. I still wanted them to win that series, but I was okay with it. Listen, again, like, worst case scenario, if you come out of the series with a split, I can live with that. But man, you've got a chance now to really, really put your foot on the Astros' throat a little bit. Again, won't eliminate them, won't count them out. But if you could win this series, that would feel really, really good. And I think you've got a shot. I think you've got a great chance. Arrighetti has not been great. He'll pitch on Thursday against Logan Gilbert. You got to feel good there. And let's beat Justin Verlander tomorrow. Go get it. George Kirby's due for a good game. He is due for a George Kirby masterclass. Let's see it tomorrow night and get that series win. Let's dive into the box score. First, let's start with the pitching. Luis Castillo, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk, 6 Ks, gave up the home run to Bregman. The home run that Bregman hit was only 94 exit velo. It was out at 21 ballparks, but it had an expected batting average of 090. The wind took that thing a little bit. Now, with that said, I thought Castillo gave up some hard contact early that he was probably lucky he hadn't given up a run or two. I know Jordan hit one pretty hard off of him. I think it was Jordan, at least. Maybe it wasn't. Was it Tucker? Someone, I don't know. Or maybe it was Altuve. Whatever. He had given up some hard contact early. So while I think the Bregman home run was a bit unlucky, I thought he was a little lucky early on to not have given up more runs. But after that, Castillo really settled in and pitched fantastic. I think that's now 9 out of 10, out of 9 out of Castillo's last 10 starts or something where he's twirled a quality start. I didn't get a chance to make a post game for his last start in Yankee Stadium. I thought he was all right there. I know he had some walks and wasn't perfect, same in Baltimore, but Castillo does a great job of knowing his opponent and adjusting the game plan. We talked about a little bit George Kirby. Sometimes maybe it would be beneficial to give up a couple more walks in order to hit the outside of the zone and hit the corners a little bit more. And I'm not trying to, I love me some George Kirby, but I think Castillo is a great example of that. And I don't want him to necessarily be, I wouldn't even call Castillo wild, but like quite as Kirby pitching quite like Castillo. I don't necessarily want that, but Castillo knows his opponents. He knows when to fight another day. That's why even though against Baltimore, he went 6 innings, he walked more and struck out, I still said it was a good start when you factor in the lineup. And Houston is a team that does not strike out. And they've been pretty good offensively this year. The issue has been pitching mostly for Houston. Now, they've got some underperforming guys. Even Jordan isn't quite having a Jordan season. Kyle Tucker might be the best hitter in baseball. Jose Altuve's OPS is 814. Even Alvarez, as much as I'm saying having down here, it's still 794 OPS. That would have been the best in the Mariners lineup today for the record. Pena, 774. Myers is having a nice season. Diaz has struggled, but is a good hitter. Singleton's been pretty solid. Abreu's been really, really bad, but you guys get the point. I thought Castillo was outstanding tonight, I guess is a long way to say that. Thought he was absolutely outstanding and a great job in the 5th inning. Alvarez gets kind of a bloop single to left field and then gets to third, I believe. Was it on a wild pitch? No, it was a stolen base and Cal threw the ball into center field. And then you've got Bregman up, runner at third, one out, and they're able to get out of that situation. Or was it Pena after Alvarez? It was Pena to ground out, then Bregman as well. So great job there by Castillo. Little things that, I know in those moments we're frustrated because the offense isn't getting anything going. So we don't look at those things as much, but that was a critical moment for the Mariners. So Castillo did a great job. Bullpen today, Austin Voth, the shutout inning with a strikeout. Voth has been good. I'm not going to be at a point yet where I'm like, ooh, Austin Voth, I have that same faith that I do in Munoz, Brash, or something like that. But Austin Voth has been pretty solid. He's got a good strikeout to walk ratio, 20 strikeouts to 4 walks. His ERA is in the 3s. Do I think Austin Voth is an elite level reliever? No, but I do think Austin Voth is good. And it's the story with this bullpen. And it's kind of funny because I absolutely think this team needs to go out and get another arm, although the bullpen's been sensational this series, so I'll ease up on that a little bit. But I also don't think anybody down there is bad. I just don't know where on the good scale they fall in. Is Austin Voth a guy you can bring in to bases loaded in the 8th inning with 1 out to get out of it? Or is he a guy that is kind of like what he did tonight, pitches a shutout inning with nobody on in the 7th inning? Welcome back, Taylor Saucedo. He strikes out, gets a strikeout, does walk Tucker. It was actually, I think, a 3-1 pitch that I thought was a strike. But, if you're going to pitch around anybody, pitch around Kyle Tucker is fine. Good to have Saucedo back. That should at least help a little bit to lengthen this bullpen a bit and get some other guys maybe out of high leverage situations and get Saucedo back in. And a great 9th inning from Ryan Stanek. He had an outstanding splitter to strike out Bregman. And then he had another one to Myers, which was even better. The Bregman one was weird. It almost kind of floated up there like almost like a fork ball or almost like a knuckleball a little bit, the way it kind of floated in there. And then he threw one to Myers. It was just dirty, and a great clean ninth inning for Stanek with a couple strikeouts. And again, kudos to that bullpen. And you didn't have Andres Munoz available today. And that's another thing. Guess what? Munoz available tomorrow. So now you're getting your big gun back in the ninth inning or eighth or whatever they decide to use him. So not only did you win a game where you didn't have your best reliever, you've got him back tomorrow, and the rest of the guys picked up the slack. Tremendous outing for the bullpen. They been an unsung hero of this series so far, if you would ask me. And last night was obvious because he had the lead. Tonight wasn't because they were down by a run, but Voth and Saucedo, fantastic. And great job by Stanek because, you put a base runner on there, a couple on, and Houston's right back in this thing. So to have a nice shutout inning was absolutely fantastic to see. Great job by Ryan Stanek. Listen, the offense, they struck out 14 times, only walked once. Hunter Brown goes 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, no walks, 9 Ks. And it was even more frustrating because the Mariners in the first inning, Josh Rojas has a single, steals second. Julio singles him home with the RBI. Then Cal gets the base hit, but Julio tries to go to third. I think he was caught in between, but, Julio's got to be better on the base pass there, no doubt. Good to see Julio on the bases a lot more, but he's got to make a better decision there. And I wonder if that could have been a pretty big inning. And I think that right there kind of settled Hunter Brown in a little bit, kind of gave him a chance to take a deep breath and go, okay, get out of this 1-0. I'm all right. And listen, I think Hunter Brown has good stuff. I'm not shocked. I know people are going to be like, Hunter Brown's terrible. How could you get shut down by him? Now, let me be clear. He has not been good this year at all. ERA has been over 7. The underlying numbers are a little bit better, but he has been legitimately bad. But you see good stuff. Like, remember when he came into the bullpen in 2022 in that 18-inning game against the Mariners, he looked fantastic. Listen, if the Mariners offense was doing well this year, it's probably one we're willing to throw away and just go, listen, Hunter Brown got the best of him. It's just compounded with the frustration because the Mariners offense has scuffled. So when you see a pitcher with a 7 ERA come in and shut you down, it's frustrating. So I would say now that they won, it's a little easier to say it. I thought Hunter Brown did look legitimately good. Still frustrating. Still would like more runs. If not for a base running error, I do wonder what would have happened, the rest of the way early in that game. So got the win. Frustrating not to get more off Brown, but I did think he looked legitimately good. Where was I in the box score? Oh, let's get into the box score now. JP was 1 for 4, struck out 3 times. Did have a nice double the other way, I think in the third inning, or this might have been the second. No, it would have been the third. JP had a really rough at-bat in that 8th inning after the Mitch Haniger double, and then Bliss works the walk after the wild pitch. JP was up with runners at the corners and struck out on 4 pitches. Just looked like he was trying to do too much in that at-bat. And then Rojas got the single to tie it, and then Julio looked like he was kind of doing the same, but found a way to put the ball in play. So not a great game for JP. Good to see the extra base hit. JP does look more dialed in. That at-bat was tough in the 8th, but overall I think JP's looked much better. Josh Rojas, 2 for 4 with an RBI. Rojas gets his 7th double of the year off of Presley, also has a base hit in the first inning. Good to see Rojas has been cooled off a little bit. Listen, I don't think any of us expected Josh Rojas to OPS 990 this season, but he's still at like a 777 OPS. He had a little bit of a cold spot, and he's coming out of it a little bit. Josh Rojas is a good, solid baseball player, and a nice game today. And a tough at-bat there against Presley in the 8th inning. JP strikes out. You want to stay out of the double play there. A little bit more pressure on you in that situation. And Rojas didn't do too much. Gets the ball over the glove of Abreu for a big hit that ties the game, and the Mariners end up getting the go-ahead run. Julio, 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. I'm glad they gave him a hit on that at-bat in the 8th. Listen, it wasn't crushed, but it gets the job done. It's speed kills, right? Speed kills. And Julio proved that in that at-bat. Bregman was kind of caught in between whether to come home or go to first. Thought he should just throw it home. You never know. See if you can get something there where, Bliss misses the slides over the base or something like that. But good to see from Julio. And then his base hit the other way in the first inning. Classic Julio, over 100 exit velo, and drives in the early run. Needs to work on the base running gaff that he had in the first inning. But other than that, another 2-hit day for Julio Rodriguez. And I thought his at-bat in the 8th, Got off to a tough start. I think he got down 0-2 right away. Again, you saw it. Julio trying to do a little too much with the first couple pitches. Then he spits on a fastball that was outside, but a pitch we've seen Julio go after in those situations before. And he's able to find a way to just put the ball in play. When you've got Ryan Bliss and Clase on the bases, I know Clase had already scored, but, and Rojas, just put the ball in play, and it worked. If that was somebody else other than Ryan Bliss running, I don't know if they score that run there. Like, if that's Mitch Haniger, and I'm not taking away from Mitch because he had a huge double that inning, you probably don't score in that situation. So, again, speed kills. Cal Raleigh, 1 for 4. Tough day for Luke Raley, 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Ty was 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch. And then what was his other? Why is he only 0 for 2 for 2? Because he was, I guess because he only had the 3 because he got hit by the pit. There we go. Canzone 0 for 3. He's been scuffling a little bit. Would like to see Dom get going. Mitch Haniger 1 for 3. Listen, Mitch was another guy I was going to talk about. I swear, I just got to think of guys to talk about, and then the Mariners just come back and those guys do something. Because one of my narratives would be like, what is going on with Mitch Haniger? What are we doing here? That was going to kind of be my comeback. Then Mitch gets the clutch double to start off the 8th inning. Vintage, classic Mitch Haniger. Get hot, Mitch. Get hot. And I would love nothing more than to see that. And hopefully that double was the start of it for Mitch Haniger. Clase pinch run, scores a run. Ryan Bliss 0 for 2 with a walk. Couldn't get the bunt down in the 8th inning. You could argue bunting there, not the best idea, because I would be more fine with the bunt there if you were tied and you were trying to take the lead. I don't necessarily like giving up an out when you're just trying to tie the game in that situation. But with Bliss's speed, you could see on a couple of those bunts, if they would have stayed fair, he might have beaten that out, to be perfectly honest. And then Clase at that point gets the third anyways. And Bliss, after getting down 0-2, works a fantastic walk and shows his value on the base pass. Listen, I know he doesn't have a hit yet. I've been impressed with his approach. Haven't seen him chase too much. He looks, I think I said it yesterday, looks hitterish. He looks like a guy in the box that has an idea, that knows what he's doing up there. The hits are going to come for Ryan Bliss. I've been impressed so far. The defense, I think, has been fine. Some of the throws, there was a potential double play on Pena that they couldn't turn. And then Bregman hit the home run right after that, where the throw is just a little bit weak, I thought, from Bliss. But, other than that, I think Bliss has looked solid. Great, just a great win, a fun win. Listen, is this one that I could pull up Savant who'd probably tell you the Astros had the higher expected batting average and all that stuff. And that's great. And I use all that stuff. But sometimes just in the moment of sports, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And the Mariners found a way to get those 3 runs in the 8th and to win an absolutely huge game. And like I said in the beginning, the type of win that just kind of makes you feel something special is happening this season. And I don't even think this team has really hit their stride yet. Great win. Mariners win it 4-2. I'm going to head out. Remember to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're new, comment your thoughts on the game down below. Let's get that series win tomorrow. Let's beat Verlander. Man, that would feel good. George Kirby on the bump. I got a good feeling. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your night. Go Mariners. Peace.